Since the dawn of humanity, there has existed a figure who dwells on the boundary between myth and fear, an ancient presence, older than many of the beliefs we know today, whispered about in secret, feared in chants, and remembered in writings hidden in the shadows of tradition. Her name echoes as an enigma: Lilith. But who was Lilith? Was she merely a myth born from the darkness of popular imagination, or the first woman to rebel against the Creator? Why, in some traditions, is she called the first wife of Adam, the woman who refused to bow down? And why, in so many cultures, was she associated with demons, with the death of children, with lust, and with chaos? The Alphabet of Ben Sira, a medieval Jewish text, preserves a disturbing account. Lilith was said to have been created from the very same dust that formed Adam. Not inferior, not taken from his rib, but equal. When she demanded equality both in life and in the marriage bed, Adam would not accept it. And so, pronouncing the sacred name of God, Lilith is said to have taken flight from Eden, becoming something that could never return. How can one understand such a complex figure? Was Lilith the first free woman in history, or the seed of evil itself, the serpent that leads to ruin? Why was her image shaped both as the queen of demons and as a symbol of feminine liberation? Across the centuries, Lilith has been reinvented, in Jewish tradition as the mother of night creatures, in Kabbalistic mysticism as part of the forces of evil, in Islam as a dark spirit, and in occultism as an archetype of forbidden feminine power. With every page, with every tradition, Lilith changes form, as though she were woven from the very fabric of mystery. What remains is fear and fascination. And it is precisely there that our journey begins, a journey that crosses millennia of beliefs, symbols, and secrets. For to understand Lilith is to grasp what is darkest and most revealing within the human soul. In the most ancient roots of Jewish tradition, Lilith appears as a dangerous shadow. In Sumerian and Babylonian texts, long before she was ever associated with Adam, there already existed female figures called Lilitu or Lamashtu, described as night spirits who attacked men during their sleep and stole the lives of newborn children. These records, found on tablets dated to approximately 2,000 years before Christ, revealed that Lilith was not born solely within Judaism. She was inherited from cultures far older, always linked to the night, to desire, and to death. In the Babylonian Talmud, Lilith is mentioned as a female demon with long hair, capable of strangling infants. The fear was so real that for centuries Jewish mothers would hang amulets over cradles, inscribed with the names of the angels Sinoi, Sansinoi, and Simanjaloth, said to have been sent by God to restrain Lilith. These details are not merely legends, but historical records that demonstrate how her presence shaped religious practices and family customs. And what did Lilith look like? The texts vary, yet they consistently portray her as irresistibly beautiful, a woman with long hair, burning eyes, and black wings. In the Zohar, the central work of Kabbalah, she is called the Great Prostitute, a being who seduces and enslaves. Her body is described as both beautiful and deadly, uniting fascination and danger in a single figure. The powers attributed to Lilith extend far beyond seduction. She was believed to fly, to cross spiritual dimensions, and to manipulate human dreams. Many believed that during the night, Lilith would visit sleeping men, provoking nocturnal emissions and stealing their vital energy. This belief grew so strong that the very idea of demonic dreams became directly tied to her name. Yet perhaps the most striking aspect of Lilith was not her appearance or her powers, but her behavior. She never accepted submission. In every tradition, Lilith appears as one who refuses boundaries. This refusal, which could have been seen as courage, was transformed into a curse. And here lies the great contradiction. Lilith is at once the symbol of rebellion and the very archetype of evil. Thus, her figure travels through the centuries as an eternal dilemma. Was Lilith an unjustly demonized victim, or the living embodiment of darkness itself? If in popular legends Lilith was already feared, it was within mysticism that her figure gained even deeper contours. Kabbalah, the Jewish esoteric tradition, describes Lilith as part of the Sitra Achra, the other side, the domain of the impure forces that stand in opposition to divine light. In the Zohar, Lilith appears as the consort of Samael, the fallen angel, forming a demonic couple that darkly mirrors the union of Adam and Eve. There she is called the Bloody Woman, a symbol of lust and disorder, associated with the black moon, with the night, and with the menstrual flow, elements considered impure by the rabbis of that time. In Christian tradition, Lilith is not directly mentioned in the Holy Bible, but she appears in early interpretations and translations. The Latin Vulgate, for example, translated a passage of the book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 14, with the term Lilith, describing a creature that would dwell in desolate places. The Church Fathers, reflecting upon this passage, associated her with a night spirit, reinforcing her link with evil and with the serpent of Eden. In Islam, although the name Lilith does not appear in the Quran, some popular traditions connect her to female jinn, invisible beings who seduce, deceive, and draw men away from faith. In Middle Eastern folklore, Lilith emerges as the mother of ghouls, creatures wandering through the shadows in search of human flesh. Centuries later, with the rebirth of occultism and ceremonial magic in Europe, Lilith was recovered as an archetype of forbidden power. Medieval grimoires described her as the queen of the Succubi, the leader of female spirits who fed upon the vital energy of men. During the witch trials, many women who were accused of sorcery were linked to Lilith, seen as her disciples, bearers of nocturnal heresy. Yet, she was not remembered only as an enemy of faith. Among practitioners of modern witchcraft and contemporary occultism, Lilith is revered as a goddess of sexual freedom, guardian of hidden wisdom, and lady of lunar magic. Within neo-pagan circles, she is invoked not as a demon, but as a forgotten goddess, unjustly demonized by patriarchal religions. This duality reveals the enduring power of Lilith, at times cursed as the mother of monsters, at times celebrated as the goddess of independence. The question remains, who is Lilith in truth? A threat against the divine, or a hidden reflection of the human condition itself? In recent centuries, Lilith has undergone a process of redefinition. She who was once seen as the demon of the night, the killer of children, and the wife of fallen angels, began to be reinterpreted in a new light, that of resistance. In the 19th century, scholars of folklore and the occult began revisiting her story, highlighting not only the fear she inspired, but also her refusal to accept submission. This vision gained momentum in the 20th century, with feminist movements seeing in Lilith the first woman to say no to a fate imposed upon her. The writer Judith Plaskow, in her essay The Coming of Lilith, published in 1972, described her not as a demon, but as a companion to Eve, both united in their rejection of male domination. In academic and cultural circles, Lilith came to symbolize the woman who does not bend, who faces the cost of freedom, even when that cost is exile. In contemporary art and literature, Lilith appears both as a muse and as a monster, oscillating between the archetype of empowerment and the demonic queen. She embodies paradox, goddess or demon, victim or villain, sacred or profane. Perhaps it is precisely this duality that keeps her presence so alive. After all, Lilith is not merely a distant character, but a mirror that forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How far does the price of freedom go? What happens when someone refuses to obey imposed rules? Today, in debates on spirituality, feminism, occultism, and literature, Lilith continues to divide opinion. For some, she is a dark force to be avoided. For others, she is an icon of courage and insubordination. Deep down, perhaps Lilith represents not only the night, but the human condition itself, the eternal struggle between obedience and rebellion, fear and desire, light and shadow. And so, who is Lilith to you? The first wife of Adam, cursed for her daring, or the eternal queen of demons, still walking through the shadows? If this journey through the history of Lilith has awakened reflection, mystery, and curiosity within you, subscribe to the channel. Here we explore legends, myths, and hidden truths that continue to echo to this day. After all, some stories do not die, they merely change form.